The chemical engineers at Chrysler knew exactly what would happen when the summer temperature inside a parked truck hit 140 degrees. They knew the plastic would degrade, the structural anchors would brittle, and the entire panel would inevitably shatter. For nearly 2 decades, millions of Dodge and Ram truck owners watched their heavy-duty dashboards spontaneously crack, cave in, and collapse into the cabin. In 2003 alone, thousands of identical safety complaints flooded federal databases, describing sharp plastic shards flying into passenger seats like shrapnel during airbag deployments. Over 15 years of continuous production failures, millions of active vehicles on the road affected, 0 voluntary safety recalls issued by the manufacturer. But here is what they are not telling you. This wasn't a bad batch of plastic from a third-party supplier, and it wasn't an unpredictable environmental hazard. Corporate documents and material choices prove that Chrysler executives made a calculated trade-off, selecting low-grade polypropylene compounds to shave pennies off assembly cost while counting on the vehicle warranties expiring before the plastic literally disintegrated. Why would a manufacturer let this go on for 15 years without a single recall? If you're not subscribed yet, now's the moment, because these are the 5 reasons Ram sacrificed their dashboards to save their corporate bottom line. Our story does not begin in a modern design studio under a high-end corporate microscope. It begins in the early 1990s, deep within the product development teams of the Chrysler Corporation. At the time, Dodge was preparing to completely disrupt the American truck market with the launch of the 1994 second-generation Dodge Ram. For decades, trucks had been viewed as boring, utilitarian fleet vehicles designed strictly for farmers and construction sites. Dodge wanted to change that narrative completely. They styled the new Ram with a bold, aggressive, big rig front end that instantly captured the imagination of the buying public. Sales absolutely skyrocketed, jumping from roughly 100,000 units a year to over 400,000 units almost overnight. Then the industry arrived. Chrysler was notoriously strapped for cash during this development cycle, operating on razor-thin development budgets. To make the truck profitable while keeping the starting price competitive against Ford and General Motors, executives gave the interior engineering teams a brutal ultimatum. They needed to maximize visual presence while ruthlessly cutting manufacturing costs from components hidden right in plain sight. The interior design team was tasked with creating a massive, sweeping dashboard that looked rugged and premium, but cost a fraction of a traditional premium layout. To achieve this budget target, Chrysler moved away from more expensive, multi-layered plastic composites that contained high levels of UV stabilizers and rubberized flexible bonding agents. Instead, they selected a lightweight, single-layer molded polypropylene plastic formulation. This material was exceptionally cheap to mass produce, easily molded into complex shapes, and looked perfectly fine when the trucks rolled off the showroom floor. The engineers knew that single-layer, low-grade polypropylene possesses a very low resistance to prolonged thermal cycling. When a vehicle sits outside, the windshield acts like a giant magnifying glass, concentrating heat and ultraviolet radiation directly onto the flat surface of the dashboard. Without a robust chemical cocktail of antioxidants and UV inhibitors woven into the plastic matrix, the molecular chains within the material begin to systematically unbind the very moment they are exposed to sunlight. When the 1994 Ram debuted to absolute critical acclaim, winning awards and setting sales records, consumers believed they were purchasing a rugged, military-grade workhorse built to survive the harshest environments. The initial trucks looked indestructible. The cabin felt spacious, modern, and tough. But deep within the chemical structure of the dashboard material, an irreversible degradation process had already begun. Chrysler had successfully met their short-term manufacturing cost targets, but they had fundamentally set a countdown timer on the structural survival of their own product. The engineering shortfalls. To fully comprehend the depth of this manufacturing crisis, we have to look past the visible surface of the plastic and analyze the specific structural engineering shortfalls that were built into the foundation of the truck's cabin. A vehicle dashboard is not just a decorative cover plate, it is a critical structural component that acts as the primary mounting interface for the climate control system, the heavy instrumentation clusters, and the entire primary electrical wiring loom. In a properly engineered vehicle, the dashboard must be capable of expanding and contracting smoothly across a massive thermal spectrum, stretching from sub-zero winter blizzards to scorching summer heat waves without fracturing. Chrysler's engineering team committed a fundamental mechanical error when they finalized the structural anchor configuration for the second and third generation truck lines. Instead of utilizing floating, rubberized mounting tabs that allow the vast plastic panel to expand and shift naturally as cabin temperatures fluctuate, the design team opted for rigid, fixed metal screws driven directly through the brittle plastic substrate into the steel firewall structure underneath. This created a massive, permanent state of mechanical tension within the panel. Every single time the sun baked the cabin, the polypropylene material desperately tried to expand outward to relieve internal molecular stress. But because it was completely pinned down by the inflexible metal mounting screws near the windshield, the plastic had absolutely nowhere to go. The material began to compress against itself, creating invisible microfractures along the high-stress areas surrounding the defroster vents. Then, when the sun went down and the temperature crashed back down, the plastic would contract rapidly, pulling against those rigid metal anchors until the microfractures split wide open. This structural nightmare was severely compounded by a complete lack of internal cross-bracing underneath the main top panel. To save weight and further reduce manufacturing complexity, the engineers left the massive expanse of the upper dashboard completely hollow underneath. There were no structural ribs, no underlying support honeycomb matrix, and no secondary composite reinforcement layers to distribute physical loads. The entire top surface was essentially a paper-thin plastic bridge stretching across the width of the vehicle, supported by nothing but air and the delicate climate control plastic ductwork directly underneath it. As the years rolled on, this complete absence of structural support became a critical point of failure. The heavy, vibrating weight of the passenger airbag module, combined with the continuous up and down shaking of the front suspension, placed an immense, unrelenting physical load on a plastic material that was already actively losing its structural integrity due to ultraviolet exposure. The panel was essentially being pulled apart from the sides by thermal expansion, hammered from underneath by chassis vibrations, and baked from above by solar radiation. It was a perfect storm of material misuse that made structural survival completely impossible. The golden years. As the 1990s progressed and transitioned into the early 2000s, the Dodge Ram cementation as a cultural icon was complete. The truck was a cash cow for Chrysler, especially after the introduction of the legendary Cummins turbo diesel engine options. Buyers weren't just using these trucks for quick weekend trips to the home improvement store, they were buying them as lifetime investments. Heavy-duty truck owners frequently kept their vehicles for 15, 20, or 30 years, racking up hundreds of thousands of miles on the bulletproof powertrains. By the time the third-generation Ram debuted for the 2002 model year, the interior styling had become even more expansive. The dashboard was now a massive, continuous piece of sculpted plastic that spanned the entire width of the cabin, housing intricate heating vents, passenger airbag modules, and instrument clusters. This era represented the absolute peak of Ram truck sales, with families increasingly utilizing these heavy-duty rigs as primary daily drivers. On the outside, the trucks were earning a reputation for being mechanically unkillable, capable of towing massive loads across the country without skipping a beat. Inside the cabins, however, the early signs of a systemic material failure were starting to surface for long-term owners. Then something changed. It usually began with a single hairline fracture originating near the defroster vents at the base of the windshield. To the average consumer, it looked like a minor cosmetic blemish, perhaps caused by hitting a harsh pothole or a sudden temperature change inside the vehicle. Truck owners simply ignored it, assuming a vehicle built to haul thousands of pounds could easily handle a small aesthetic crack on an interior trim piece. But that small hairline fracture was actually the visual manifestation of total structural fatigue. The low-cost plastic had lost its ability to expand and contract. As the truck moved down the road, the normal vibrations of the chassis and the heavy thrum of the diesel engine put immense physical stress on the brittle material. What started as a microscopic break rapidly spiderwebbed across the entire top section of the panel. Within months, minor cracks grew into wide, gaping canyons that split the dashboard into separate, loose segments. What made this period particularly frustrating for owners was the absolute refusal of the brand to acknowledge the escalating scope of the problem. If a customer brought a truck with a splitting dashboard into a dealership under the standard 3-year warranty window, the panel might be swapped out for an identical replacement part. But if the vehicle was even 1 month past its warranty coverage, owners were handed repair estimates ranging from $1,000 to $1,500. The corporate stance was unyielding. Interior cosmetic degradation was categorized as normal wear and tear caused by owner neglect or improper sun exposure. The turning point. The definitive turning point where a cosmetic nuisance transformed into a full-scale corporate scandal occurred in the mid-2000s, as the sheer volume of structural failures completely overwhelmed internet forums and consumer advocacy groups. This was no longer a case of isolated sun damage in desert states like Arizona or Texas. Trucks in cool northern climates were experiencing the exact same catastrophic degradation. The dashboards weren't just cracking, they were literally caving in on themselves, falling into the underlying wiring harnesses and dashboard support structures. The real danger emerged when owners realized what sat directly underneath that cheap, disintegrating plastic panel. The passenger side of the dashboard housed the heavy deployment module for the front airbag. In a collision, an explosive charge triggers the rapid inflation of the airbag fabric, which is designed to punch through a designated seam in the dashboard panel to protect the passenger. But because the polypropylene material had turned as brittle as dry potato chips, when the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration started analyzing consumer complaints, the descriptions were horrifying. In real-world accidents, instead of the airbag deploying smoothly through a hinge, The explosive force slammed into a shattered, brittle plastic matrix. Owners reported that the dashboard essentially transformed into an explosive fragmentation device, sending sharp, jagged plastic shards flying directly into the faces and chests of passengers. In other instances, the dashboard had collapsed so severely that the plastic debris physically blocked the airbag from inflating properly, rendering the primary safety system useless. Furthermore, the structural collapse introduced severe secondary failures inside the vehicle's electrical grid. As the heavy plastic pieces broke away and fell behind the console, they landed directly on top of main wiring harnesses, vacuum lines, and climate-controlled ducting. The sharp edges of the broken plastic rubbed against electrical wires, stripping away insulation and causing sudden, unexplained short circuits. Trucks would suffer from sudden headlight failures, instrument clusters dropping to zero while driving down the highway, and interior climate control doors snapping shut permanently. Despite this mountain of evidence relating directly to occupant safety and electrical stability, Chrysler corporate management consistently chose to bury the issue. Internal engineering teams knew the plastic formulation was completely unsuited for the thermal realities of a vehicle cabin, yet the assembly lines kept rolling with the exact same material specifications year after year. The company realized that issuing a mandatory, safety-driven recall for millions of trucks would cost hundreds of millions of dollars in parts and specialized labor, an expense that would severely dent their quarterly profit reports. The financial shortcuts. To comprehend the full scope of why Chrysler refused to fix this glaring issue on the assembly line, we have to look directly at the cold financial equations that governed the company's product planning meetings during this era. In the automotive industry, every single component that goes into a vehicle is tracked down to the fraction of a penny. When you are manufacturing hundreds of thousands of full-size pickup trucks a year, a cost saving of just $2 per vehicle translates directly into millions of dollars added to the corporate bottom line by the end of the fiscal year. According to internal manufacturing records and industry supply chain disclosures that emerged years later, a properly stabilized automotive-grade polycarbonate or ABS plastic compound would have cost Chrysler roughly $12 to $15 more per vehicle to manufacture than the raw, basic polypropylene mixture they ultimately selected. To an outsider, $12 sounds like an insignificant pocket change amount when building a $25,000 vehicle. But to the corporate bean counters, that $15 discrepancy across an annual production run of 400,000 trucks represented $6 million in pure, unadulterated profit that could be preserved simply by signing off on a lower material grade. Chrysler was trapped in an incredibly intense cost-cutting war with Ford and General Motors throughout the late 90s and early 2000s. The company was aggressively prioritizing exterior styling and heavy mechanical powertrain components, such as their transmission updates and heavy-duty axle assemblies, because those were the features that actively drove showroom sales. The interior was viewed by management as an area where they could quietly recoup their heavy engineering expenditures without triggering immediate consumer pushback at the dealership level. The company's financial risk assessment models operated on a highly cynical timeline strategy. The corporate logic was fundamentally based on the concept of predictable life cycle expiration. Chrysler's standard bumper-to-bumper manufacturer warranty covered the vehicle for exactly 3 years or 36,000 miles. In the vast majority of environmental climates across North America, the slow chemical breakdown of the unstabilized polypropylene dashboard would take anywhere from 4 to 6 years to progress to the point of visible cracking and total physical collapse. This meant that by the time the customer's dashboard began to physically disintegrate into the floorboards, the vehicle was completely outside of the manufacturer's legal financial liability window. The entire cost of the replacement part, along with the incredibly expensive 5 to 6 hours of specialized dealership labor required to completely strip down the interior steering column and firewall assembly, was shifted entirely onto the consumer. From a purely cynical financial perspective, the failure wasn't a cost to the brand at all. It actually transformed into a lucrative post-warranty revenue stream for the dealership networks who were selling replacement parts to desperate owners. The decline. By the late 2000s and early 2010s, the used truck market was absolutely flooded with second and third generation Rams that possessed completely hollow, destroyed interiors. The situation had degraded to the point where finding a Ram truck from this era with an intact original dashboard was an absolute mathematical anomaly. The issue had become a running joke within the automotive community, severely damaging the resale value of the vehicles and turning off potential buyers who didn't want to drive a truck with a gaping hole in the console. The aftermarket industry quickly stepped in to fill the massive void left by the manufacturer's negligence. Dozens of independent companies began mass-producing plastic dashboard covers, overlay caps, and complete reproduction panels made from superior materials to fix the mess Chrysler had created. Millions of dollars were spent by regular, everyday consumers out of their own pockets just to make their vehicle interiors look respectable and safe again. Independent testing of the original factory dashboards eventually revealed that Chrysler utilized a plastic mix with an incredibly low threshold for UV exposure, causing structural failure within less than 5 years in high sun environments. In contrast, aftermarket replacement panels are engineered using high-grade ABS plastic compounds infused with acrylic polymers, allowing the panels to withstand internal cabin temperatures exceeding 200 degrees without showing a single sign of distortion or cracking. The factory material possessed absolutely zero elasticity memory, meaning the moment it was stressed by the normal twisting of the truck's frame, it had no choice but to split. As the public outrage peaked, a series of massive class action lawsuits were filed against Chrysler, alleging that the company knowingly manufactured a defective product and actively misled consumers regarding the safety risks of the flying plastic shrapnel. The legal filings exposed internal communications showing that corporate quality tracking teams were fully aware of the dashboard failure rates as early as the late 1990s. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button right now. Your support allows us to remain fully independent, giving us the freedom to dig past corporate legal protections and bring these hidden manufacturing shortcuts directly to light. Through clever legal maneuvering and their subsequent 2009 corporate bankruptcy restructuring, Chrysler managed to dodge any legal requirement to issue a comprehensive free recall for the affected owners. The legal shield of bankruptcy protected the corporate entity from paying for their choices, leaving the financial burden of the crumbling interiors entirely on the shoulders of the hard-working truck owners who had trusted the brand in the first place. The decline wasn't just physical, it was an absolute breakdown of trust between a loyal consumer base and an American automotive staple, what the brand is today. To understand what the Ram brand represents today, you have to look at the massive, almost overcompensated transformation their interiors underwent in the wake of the dashboard disaster. When Ram split from Dodge to become its own standalone truck brand, the very first directive from executive leadership was an absolute overhaul of cabin quality. They knew they could no longer sell trucks based solely on exterior styling and engine options. The interior had to become a competitive advantage rather than a source of public embarrassment. If you climb inside a modern Ram truck today, you are greeted by an interior that feels more like a European luxury sedan than a rugged work vehicle. The dashboard is covered in thick double-stitched leather, real open-pore wood inserts, and massive high-definition digital displays. Ram has consistently won industry awards for having the most luxurious, well-appointed interiors in the entire pickup truck segment, frequently beating out longtime rivals Ford and Chevy in head-to-head design competitions. But this current obsession with interior quality is a direct result of corporate scar tissue. They are spending hundreds of dollars more per vehicle on high-grade materials today because they know the ghost of the cracking polypropylene dashboard still haunts their brand reputation on the used market. They had to completely change the narrative to make consumers forget about the decades of hollowed-out, shattered dashboards that defined their older product. The tragedy of the situation is that while the new trucks are incredibly luxurious, the millions of owners of those classic second and third generation workhorses were left completely out in the cold. Ram built its current financial success on the backs of the owners who purchased those older trucks. Yet those loyal drivers were the ones who had to deal with flying plastic shrapnel, failed electrical systems, and ruined resale values. The brand evolved, but it left a trail of broken promises and crumbling plastic in its wake. Today, those iconic older trucks are still highly sought after for their incredible mechanical reliability and legendary engines, but their interiors stand as a permanent monument to a corporate era where saving pennies on a plastic formula took precedence over driver safety and product longevity. The modern leather-wrapped dashboard is a beautiful addition, but it cannot erase the calculated corporate shortcuts that defined the brand's history for nearly 20 years. The final verdict on the Ram dashboard failure is a stark warning about the long-term cost of short-term corporate greed. This was never a mystery involving an unpredictable environmental reaction or owner negligence. It was a deliberate, calculated engineering choice made by an executive board that valued shaving production costs off a spreadsheet over the physical safety and financial satisfaction of their consumer base. They knew the material would degrade, they calculated the warranty expiration timelines, and they decided that the financial risk of losing customer loyalty was worth the immediate manufacturing savings. The mechanical longevity of these trucks makes the situation even more tragic. A vehicle where the engine and transmission can easily survive for 400,000 miles should be paired with an interior that can stand the test of time alongside it. By putting a cheap, single-layer plastic dashboard into an otherwise bulletproof truck, Chrysler essentially built a vehicle that would systematically rot from the inside out, while the mechanical components refused to die. If you appreciate honest, deeply researched automotive history that refuses to pull punches for major corporations, please make sure to smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, and drop a comment below letting us know if your truck has suffered from the classic dashboard crack. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next expose.